everybody. So we are so excited here for the 8th episode of Talking Disney, where we look at a classic Disney film and we hash it out and talk about it, and it's really fun. And I'm Rachel, and my friend Stanford's here.
Hi, Rachel. How's it going?
That's good. Thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. So it was great. And what a fun movie to talk about.
I'm really excited to talk about this one. This is definitely a crowd favorite, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We are talking about Aladdin. Last month we had Home on the Range because we just do by random. And this month we got much nicer random draw.
Exactly. Your drawing app showed us some mercy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your experience when you first saw Aladdin? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember vividly. I loved it. I saw it. I think I saw it like 3 or 4 nights in a row, and I'm not kidding. I'd go after work. I absolutely fell in love with Aladdin the second I saw it. So much fun. The animation is so well done. I was so taken by the story, and loved the music. Robin Williams, I just thought was genius as the genie. So yeah, multiple viewings. Rachel, and it's still a personal favorite. I love it.
Yeah. So I always liked Aladdin a lot. It was always one that you could just put on in any mood and you could smile and enjoy it. But I wasn't as in love with it as I was with Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. And I think maybe it's just because it has a male lead. And as a young girl, I was 11 when it came out. I think I was just more drawn to Belle and Ariel than Aladdin. And
yeah,
but I liked it. I just didn't love it. And for a while, I'm just being honest. For a while, if people ask me what's the most overrated Disney movie, this was my answer, which is terrible because it's a really good movie. But I guess it's not in my top 10. We'll give my ranking of Disney movies. And I feel like for most people, it is in their top 10. So in that sense, I think it's a little overrated, but it's still really, 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 really good.
Sure. So. No, I hear what you're saying. And honestly, I think that's probably why it resonated so much with me, is because of the male protagonist. And also, there's a big action adventure component to the film, which, action movies are like one of my favorite genres. And so they have that put into a Disney film, like the way it was, like that whole Cave of Wonders scene, which we'll talk about. I think it's one of those, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, two of my favorite things coming together, a really solid action movie with a really fantastic Disney musical.
Yeah.
And it worked, that really worked. So.
Yeah. And there was never any doubt in my mind ever that the genie is one of the great characters of Disney history. I do think that if you take the genie out of this movie, and that's a big takeout because it's a huge part of the movie, but if you take that out, I think the movie is, like, I don't think Aladdin is a super interesting character. I don't think Jasmine is a super interesting character. But Genie is so great that he elevates, I think, the whole rest of the movie. Robin Williams' performance, I think it's not only one of the great Disney performances of all time, I think it's one of the great supporting performances ever. If he had won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year, I would have had no complaints, that's for sure.
Right, yeah.
I mean, even though it's just a vocal performance, you could tell he was just putting in everything into it. And I remember actually in I believe in their review of Aladdin on Siskel and Ebert, I think Ebert actually said, like, you could nominate him for supporting actor. Mm-hmm. It's that good. And he's just so incredible in this role. And we'll talk more about that. And I have to admit, like, it has a depth to it that I didn't see or I didn't feel before. After his passing, I remember watching it, and I watched it that night. And I don't normally get super upset, I guess, about celebrity, celebrity deaths and things like that. But him and Whitney Houston really affected me because they were just such a huge, not only this, but you think like Mrs. Doubtfire and so many movies that were so big in the 90s. And I kind of felt like with Robin Williams that I felt like I had forgotten about him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, what made me sad is that I had forgotten about him because he was in so many bad movies for so many years.
Yeah.
And so then when he passed away, it was kind of like being reminded of the cousin that you loved so much as a child, but you kind of had lost track of as an adult.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes sense, but it was so now I watch it, and especially the whole, Genie, You're Free, all that kind of stuff. It has an emotional intensity that it didn't have.
Yeah.
For all those years I was saying it was overrated.
Yeah.
I don't think it's overrated now, but I still don't have it in my top 10. So, but anyway, okay, so let's talk about it. So I don't really remember when I vividly remember when I saw Beauty and the Beast. It was at the Villa Theater. I don't know if you've ever seen the Villa Theater.
Yes, it's my favorite theater.
It makes me so sad that it's like selling rugs.
It's a carpet store. It's horrible. The Villa Theater was not very far from my parents' home, and it's
really?
One of my favorite.
Somebody needs to restore that someday.
I totally agree because they'd show the big Disney releases there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I saw the re-release of Fantasia there. I'm pretty sure that I saw Little Mermaid there, and I'm positive I saw Beauty and the Beast there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure you would have.
We were in Maryland by the time Aladdin came out because we moved in 1992 to Maryland. So that movie part of it as well. So,
okay. I would not. I can't remember all the theaters I saw Aladdin in because I saw it a bunch in the theater. As I mentioned, probably one of them was the Villa at some point.
So cool. Yeah.
Great movie house.
Yeah, and it's a great movie. It was directed by Ron Clements and John Musker. This is their third film, correct?
It was the third film for Disney. The first one was The Great Mouse Detective, then The Little Mermaid, then Aladdin. Yes.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Talking about, my stars. I know. Seriously.
Yeah. And they're a great team. They just recently had John, I believe, retired, correct?
John just retired. Yeah. Yes.
After Moana.
Yeah.
So we won't get any more of the team of them, but Ron's still
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope he's got another movie in him. We'll see.
Yeah. I had 16 different people on the story credit and 4 different screenwriters. So I think it went through a lot of variations.
So the 4 screenwriters, essentially, so Ron and John are 2 of the screenwriters.
Originally, they were planning on being kind of darker, correct?
Well, yes, because Howard Ashman was still alive when they were working on the story. So it was going to be a Cab Calloway themed musical. I mean, clearly, it was going to be set in Arabia and all that stuff. But I don't know if you're familiar with any of those with Cab Calloway, but he was a African American performer, I think, quite famous in the 40s and 50s, and he was in musicals, and I think he had his own group that he toured with and whatnot. But a really specific musical style with like a zoot suit and really great music, really energetic, and some of that still I think is in a friend and a friend like me. Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah, he did Minnie the Moocher, right?
I believe so. Yes.
In Blues Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But a darker tone too. You're right, because Howard Ashman was dying, and I think that some of those songs that he was writing, at least the way, if not mistaken, what I've heard Alan Menken say about it was that the film had a darker tone, during some point of it in its development. Which is again sad because here the brilliant Howard Ashman was dying.
Right. Yeah. Do you know what songs Ashman ended up writing? Prince Ali, or did he write anything?
I think he wrote "Friend Like Me,"
Uh-huh.
and he might have written "Arabian Night" at the beginning.
Okay.
But then I think the other ones he wrote got scrapped. One of the songs is really nice. That's in the stage version now. This they've got the Broadway version of Aladdin, and it's called "Proud of Your Boy."
Mm-hmm.
And it's Aladdin talking about trying to make his mother, proud of him for trying to live up to her expectations of him, and it's more melancholy rather than really sad. But there was another one. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, Rachel, but Jafar sings it. It got cut.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they included it in the musical, but we'll talk about that. But
a lot of
it was a Howard Ashman.
Right. A lot of the changes came down to Jeffrey Katzenberg. He, I guess, in April 1991, he said that there was this Black Friday where he refused to change the release date in the November 1992 release date, because this was when they were doing a movie every year kind of a thing. And it wasn't until the year, I think there's a year before Lion King, in between Lion King.
There was a break between Aladdin and Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to do a movie every year. So this was in 1991, and Katzenberg felt like the script didn't engage the viewer, and he said that they demanded the entire story be written without rescheduling the date, and that he said that they requested that Clements and Musker were to not be dependent on Ashman's vision, and the removal of Aladdin's mother. He says, 86 the mother, the mom's a zero. There you go. That's Jeffrey Katzenberg for you.
That's Jeffrey Katzenberg. My favorite, as you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think a lot of that probably facilitated a lot of changes. One thing I had pointed out to me early on, and again, I can't remember who did it, Rachel, because it was so many years ago, but if you look at the A Friend Like Me sequence,
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin, the character himself, is a lot skinnier and a lot. I mean, he looks kind of like a gangly teenager. Is really what he looks like, and that was his early character design. And then they did a lot of that. They did a lot of that animation for it. I think that was one of the first sequences that they finished.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted him to look more like Tom Cruise, and so they muscled him up. And that's the character that we see throughout pretty much most of the film. But I noticed it again, with the subsequent viewing, like, oh yeah, there's little teenager Aladdin that kind of looks,
Yeah.
Doesn't look like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He just looks like a kid.
Well, yeah, originally I guess they had gone with Michael J. Fox, and then they decided to make the character older. And they used Tom Cruise as an inspiration. And in the audio commentary, I'm not sure which one said it, but Clements and Musker, they said that the male leading men are harder to do in animation than the women, because you can slightly caricature the female figure and a slight exaggeration makes it more appealing. But when you do that with the male figure, that slight exaggeration is a little off-putting. So that's why they had been hesitant to have male characters aside from, like animal male characters, like in the Jungle Book or something like that, they hadn't had, they had female characters or animals for the most part.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought that was interesting. And also, I read that they had used, they wanted sort of an exaggerated style to the lines and different things. And so they had inspiration from a comic artist named Al Hirschfeld. And you definitely see his influence later on in Fantasia 2000. But just in the, I think you especially see it in the Genie. And especially in A Friend Like Me, you can kind of see the influence of sort of the Al Hirschfeld kind of look to things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, that's interesting to know because, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
This race, because the supervising animator of the genie is Eric Goldberg, who's still at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and he also was the supervising animator of that Al Hirschfeld inspired sequence in Fantasia 2000. Yeah, so so clearly he knows how to draw a Hirschfeld type of character. He's a very good artist.
Yeah, so they ended up getting
Tim
Rice.
Has worked with Andrew Lloyd Webber on some of the great.
Yeah, you're right.
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Evita, Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, Tim Rice is a very good lyricist,
and I think he has a little bit more of a he has a little bit more of a pop style to his lyrics rather than a Broadway style that Ashman had. It's just, I think you see a slight difference in Aladdin than Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid.
Absolutely. You definitely tell there's some different stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I think he did it. I think, he did a nice job. I mean, can you imagine what a hard job that would have been too?
I can't.
I can't either.
Do you think that they missed out a little bit in not making it a little more authentic to Arabic culture, to the lore? I mean, they kind of went with, as far as Agrabah, with just sort of it's not really trying to be anything in specific, and I think that saves them a lot of grief.
Yeah.
They tried to do the same thing with Moana, that it's just it's just a made-up place, and so they don't have to be quite as that gives them a little more leeway. But even the characters are all pretty white, and they're all pretty I don't know, it just seems like it might have been cool to have made it a little bit more sort of Arabic, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And yeah, I've wondered about that too. That, because it doesn't necessarily, I mean, clearly you see the set, you see it in the art, you see it in the setting and the backgrounds and whatnot. But yeah, all the voice actors are all white, and nothing is really authentic, I guess, right, to the to the culture. And same with them. I mean, the music has some kind of arabesque type of stylings to it, but then again, they just played the whole thing up really, I think, just for comedy, and it sure would be an interesting, different movie. And I mean, I hate to even bring it up. I'm sure it's the elephant in the room. But this new quote unquote live action Aladdin.
See, if
they've cast that more culturally appropriate,
right?
But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Again, I don't know. I don't even.
After his King Arthur, I am super nervous about. About Guy Ritchie's. But if it was me, if they were asking me to remake Aladdin, I would go totally dark. I would get rid of all the songs. I would just, like they did with Pete's Dragon, I would make it its own thing. Make it more of the legend. Make it more. That would be so cool. And you could have like they did with Cinderella. She's just sort of humming some of the songs just underneath her breath. That's way better, I think, personally, than but anyway, than trying to make Will Smith. I know. But there was some controversy because they did say that they did have to change the lyrics in the opening.
Change the lyrics in that opening Arabian Night number.
Yeah, that's where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. And they changed it to where it's flat and immense, and the heat is intense.
Yeah,
which is probably good to do.
That caused a bit of an uproar, but still, though, there's that scene, when Princess Jasmine is in the market, and he's trying to cut off her arm, right, or cut off her hand, and that, I don't know if there was any outcry. I don't remember any outcry over that, but it's just like, well, that's the same
that
thing.
At least makes a little, at least that's not, I feel like it's less insulting because it's not like told for a joke. and whereas the other one
right.
is just a joke.
It's in the context of it, right?
Yeah.
Good point.
But okay, so we start out the movie with Aladdin and it's One Step. How do you think this does in setting tone and helping define Aladdin's character?
Well, I think it's a terrific opening number.
Yeah.
It's so, for lack of a better word, Rachel, I'm just calling it cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything so highly stylized. These all these different people popping in and out, and all these different voices, and it's nonstop, and it's this, it's a chase scene, right? That's set into this song, but it's manic, but it always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a really fun and a clever way to introduce this character. What do you think about it?
I agree. I think it makes him super charming. Like, you kind of fall in love with him. You get to see his heart. You get to see how slick he is, how cool he is. It's a really, really effective scene. And especially after you've just had the moment where you know that they're looking for the diamond in the rough.
Yes.
Here is your diamond in the rough.
Here's your diamond in the rough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. Really fun. It just feels like a classic storytelling when, sort of a hero's journey. It almost is similar to Luke looking out and frustrated, the sort of frustrated teenagers. The same thing with Aladdin looking out at the castle. Someday, Abu, things will change. And I think that is classic.
I do too. I love that scene so much. And I also really love too, just before that, how Aladdin and Abu finally escape, and they've got their bread, and they're sitting there, they're eating, and then they see those two little hungry children, and they both give their bread to them, and Abu does it begrudgingly, but it's cute. I mean, then he kind of he comes around, but it really shows Aladdin's character. And it's done with, I think, just a light touch is what I like about it. It's not heavy-handed, and it's done by action, and I just always impressed by it. I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And so let's talk about Jasmine. So you get like these two different sides of Jasmine. In one side, she is very like tough, and she is refusing to see the suitors who she thinks are pompous. And so that's a very modern voice for her. And I always like to, because the girl who's playing Jasmine, she came up with this idiotic quote where she was gonna she's gonna modernize Jasmine or whatever, and she's gonna
and the one in the Guy Ritchie one.
That she was gonna make her a strong, independent character. And my response to that was, she literally has a tiger for a pet. Like, you're going to tell me that she's not a strong character?
Perfect response. That quote was so annoying because it was like, have you seen, this animated version?
Evidently no Disney females are modern, evidently. Like, everybody, Belle's not modern.
So annoying.
Jasmine's not modern, but on the one hand, she is super naive. Like, she again trains her tiger to speak English, to understand English, but she doesn't know that you have to pay for things.
Right.
Vendor, like, is that just too stupid?
Yeah, that's a weird thing. I mean, I guess she is sheltered, right? But that whole thing.
She probably knows about money, though.
Well, right, because. Anyway,
it's forgivable. I was just saying that she's.
I hear you though. Yeah.
But Aladdin comes and rescues her, and they have sort of this little kind of moment together, and I think that they have such immediate chemistry.
They do, yeah.
Which goes a long way, because like any sort of romantic comedy, you have to buy that there's always like a gimmick in a romantic comedy, that whether it's someone pretending to be engaged or someone pretending to whatever, just try to impress people. And they usually have that moment where like, how could you lie to me? Oh, I know of what I speak. I watch a lot of romantic comedies, and that the chemistry, if the chemistry is not there, then it's just like the worst. But if it's there, then you can put up with so many controversies.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think the chemistry is really here between these two. They both have a similar sort of nature. They're both kind of longing, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. That instant chemistry that they're able to build, and again, kudos to the filmmakers, I think, for their choices in making that work so well.
Agreed. And
believable. And I like it how they're. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I like that she gets to meet him first as the street rat. I think
as he is, as he really is. Yeah,
I think that's really good. And they end up they're going to take Aladdin. Jafar finds out that Aladdin is the diamond in the rough, and he goes and he has his guards come and take Aladdin, and that's when Jasmine reveals herself, and I think that there's some nice moments for Jasmine and sort of that whole sequence where she really she sticks up to Jafar, she sticks up to everything, and she's obviously devastated when she thinks that Aladdin is killed by Jafar. And so let's talk about Jafar as a villain. Where does he rank for you in Disney villains? Is he one of your all-time favorites, or?
I don't know if he's necessarily one of my all-time favorites, but I think he's a terrific villain.
Mm-hmm.
I love his character design, and I think the clothes they put him in and the way he's got that very long, droopy face. I mean, he's elegant looking, which I love these elegant villains, like Maleficent and whatnot. But he's just in a way he wants Jasmine and he wants to rule the world, but it's kind of like, okay, so it's just like the selfish. It's the selfish villain again. So not necessarily a lot of depth to him, I guess, but he's kind of a delicious villain the way that he's played, and I think the script they've given him is great. I love Iago too, so I think that between the two of them, I think I like it. I've never had a problem with Jafar, but I really like Jafar, and I miss watching this. Just made me remember just how much I miss true villains. We haven't had a true villain in Disney in a long time. What we end up having is these people we think are the good guys. Oh, but turns out they're actually bad guys. Yeah, surprise. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you could say that there's not a villain reveal in Moana, but there's just it's almost like an Odyssey type story in Moana where there's a series of villains that she meets along the way. And so, but I miss, we haven't really had one since Gothel, and I hope that in Frozen 2, they are making a true villain. Really please, because it has been both in Pixar and in Disney, we have had almost all last minute surprise villains.
It's like a mystery who the villain is, and then the reveal. Yeah.
And I miss like a villain where, there's a moment in here where Iago says something to the effect of, whatever pleases you, oh evil one. I miss that. I miss where we have that, like where they're just like so evil. And I don't know. I just really miss that. And I do like Jonathan Freeman.
I do too.
As Jafar. And I think the only shame is that we didn't get a better villain song. He really only has the Prince Ali reprise.
That Prince Ali reprise,
which is too bad because I think he's got a great voice and I think he would have been up for it. And he does have a song in Return to Jafar that I kind of wish we'd gotten one here.
And again, I know Alan Menken and Howard Ashman wrote a song for Jafar. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of it, Rachel, but it was supposedly really dark. I think it was like Humiliate the Boy or something. something I think after Jafar captures Aladdin,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like it was the Prince Ali reprise was clearly put in its place because he's humiliating Aladdin by showing Jasmine who he really is, But that's done with. It's still sad, but it's done in a little more kind of lighthearted.
Well, it says here that Freeman, he was cast early on and recorded his dialogue, and then he had to readjust his voice after Scott Weininger and Brad Kane were cast as and Linda Larkin as Jasmine. And they had to readjust his voice because they decided that Jafar had to be seen as a real threat to Aladdin and Jasmine, as he was originally visioned as an irritable character, but the directors decided that a calm villain would be scarier. So that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, because he is, he even though he comes unhinged finally at the end, he is all kind of behind the scenes, right, in his little secret lair.
Yeah.
Or hypnotizing the king, but it's all done, or the Sultan. I mean, how he hypnotizes the Sultan with his staff. But it's not super dramatic, is it? It's all rather, again, just kind of elegant, subdued.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. Like he's cool, collected.
On the villains. I'm with you on the villains.
Yeah. So, what do we think of Iago in the history of villain sidekicks? What do you think about him and Gilbert Gottfried?
I adore it. I remember back in the day, it seemed like Gilbert Gottfried was a bit of a controversial choice because he's a pretty foul-mouthed comic, if I'm not mistaken, in his like in his stand-up and whatnot. But he's so, I don't know. For me, it works, and it still works. Watching it again, I think he's so funny, and the lines they give him are funny, and again, Jafar is all cool, calm, and collected, as for the most part, and Iago just is coming in unhinged all the time, and I just love it. I love it when the Sultan keeps feeding him crackers, and then he explodes about that, and he thinks he's gonna have a heart attack and die for not surprise and all. Anyway.
Yeah, I love him so much. I think he's so funny. Like so funny. I love like little moments that other people don't even notice. But like for instance, there's one scene where he's like, "Get a grip, Jafar," and then Jafar like chokes him.
Yes.
Like, nice grip. I just think stuff like that is so funny.
It's funny. Yeah.
For sure.
I love the line, that he's so ticked off that he's molting,
Yeah.
Nobody could do that like Gilbert Gottfried, he's just got that absolutely fantastic voice.
Yeah. So. I think he's really, really funny. A lot of people don't like voices like that, but I do. Yeah, I've always been a huge Fran Drescher fan, and I feel like it's kind of in the same sort of camp of comedy. And interesting enough, our friend Will Finn from Home on the Range was the animator for.
I noticed that. I'll talk to Rachel about Will Finn.
I really do really love Iago, and I think you kind of need that balance because you have the crazy antics of the improv kind of Genie on one side, and I feel like you need it kind of over on this other side too, on the villain side. Otherwise it would just be kind of like, I don't know, it wouldn't work. You kind of need both of them, I think, for it to work. And
really, really good sidekick, and again, super cartoony. I love how he's animated, and there's lots of squash and stretch with Iago, whereas Jafar again can just kind of be the statue.
Yeah, I know. I do. I love when he gets like stuck in the wall and stuff like that. It's so funny.
I love it too. And actually, I love how, Jafar's got that high collared jacket, or that jacket with those shoulders, almost like he's got shoulder pads,
Right.
And Iago can just walk back and forth, talking into both ears. I just think it's a brilliant design too.
I also like works. When he's pretending to be a flamingo. That's pretty funny too. What are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
So funny. And what do you think about Abu as a side character, sidekick for Aladdin?
Again, sorry. The word of the day is love. I love Abu. I think Abu is a perfect sidekick because he's so expressive. I'm really glad that they chose not to make him talk.
I agree.
Because I love the little monkey squeaks that that make it, and he's so expressive, and they're just a really good team. That's really well established in that opening song, or in the that we were. Sorry again, I'm having a brain cramp. The
one step.
One step, yeah. Because you really see them, how they work together and help each other, and I like how Abu is in a way kind of his conscience, because he like tells him he's almost like a little kid, and that he's just completely honest. He'll express his happiness and his disdain with decisions that Aladdin's making, and I think he's terrific.
Also,
I love his little fez.
Yeah. Well, he's also a very he's a very instinctual character. Like he's the reason why the cave falls apart when they go in there, because he's tempted by this jewels. Also he's the one that's in the most pain, and when they get sent to the ends of the world, you see Aladdin caring for him, worrying about Abu immediately. And so I think it really, really is good. So, yeah, I think it's much better than, let's say, I like Jiminy Cricket fine, but I like this better, I think, having the sidekick not being able to talk and just being really cute and expressive. So for this, at least I think it works much better.
I think it really works. Again, great decision by the creative team.
Yeah.
And plays to great comedic ends too, with the whole Prince Ali stuff, which we'll get to. Yeah. But I love Abu in any shape he's in.
Yeah.
Any form.
And what's really interesting to me is that they only have one ride in the parks that's Aladdin themed, and it's just the kind of Dumbo the magic carpet ride. That's really it's really surprising to me, given how popular the movie is, that they don't have a magic carpet ride, roller coaster, or storybook kind of ride.
Right. I know. I'm surprised they don't too. I really wish they did. At one point, there was this thing called Disney Quest at Walt Disney World. I don't know if you remember seeing that, but it was in their downtown Disney area, which they now call Disney Springs. But it was like an arcade. It was like a virtual reality arcade, built, I think, sometime in the mid-90s, if I'm not mistaken. It finally just closed last year, and they're demolishing it for an attraction they're building with the NBA, as in the National Basketball Association. But anyway, there was this virtual Aladdin ride. Because I went in there once, and it's like, you could ride you'd straddle this thing, and it was like your magic carpet, and then there was a computer screen in front of you, and then you.
Yeah, it is kind of random sometimes. They have Song of the South. They continue with that. They have never changed that on Splash Mountain, but they don't have Aladdin. It's sort of weird in the parks sometimes. But anyway.
I agree. Anyway, I don't mean to bore you with the details about the Disney.
No.
I always wondered if that was gonna lead to something else, Yeah. And clearly it hasn't, which is a bummer, because finally, they're getting Beauty and the Beast stuff in the park, so maybe they've got some Beauty and the Beast stuff at Walt Disney World, and they're building in Japan, at Tokyo Disneyland in Japan.
It is true that the Disney Renaissance, now that you mention it, is pretty underrepresented as far as rides.
Yeah,
there's a Little Mermaid ride.
Yeah, which is super cute. Have you been on that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've only been to Disney World one time when I was 12. so Disneyland is kind of what I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been on the Little Mermaid ride, of course.
Yeah.
But is that the only one?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And then there's stuff galore, but no rides. There's
That's
shows and
crazy.
stuff. But
yeah, and I mean, I guess they have Tarzan's tree, but that's it.
yeah,
But you think
that's it.
Tarzan would make a great ride?
Yeah,
Very weird with all the, flinging through the trees and stuff.
exactly.
Very weird,
It's
but
a bummer.
interesting. All right. So, okay. So now we get to the cave sequence. Jafar takes Aladdin to the Cave of Forgotten Wonders. I have to say, I think the Cave of Forgotten Wonders doesn't hold up that well. It looks super 90s CG to me.
Yeah, it looks like 90s CG.
Like just the opening to the cave.
Right.
Once he's inside, then it looks really good. But it doesn't really matter. But anyway, he gets in there, and yeah, there's quite a great scene when he's chasing the lava on the magic carpet, and the carpet's kind of a fun little bonus character.
Again, I love the magic carpet.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's so much fun because again, they infuse this personality into a carpet. I just thought it was such a creative idea. I love the carpet.
And so he ends up getting in the cave, but he has the lamp. He got it. He didn't end up giving it to Jafar, and he rubs the lamp, and that's when we get Robin Williams' Genie. And there's just like a huge shot of adrenaline into the movie. Like, it's been good up until now, but I think it's just like, wow.
Like, then the movie really starts. I mean, the movie's been really fun, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I'm with you. It gets like this shot of adrenaline when the genie shows up, and it just is nonstop until the end.
Yeah, and I think Friend Like Me, I think it's the best song in the movie. And personally, I think that all of the fun songs are almost always better than the ballads that win the Oscars in this Renaissance period. Personally, I don't know. I like them a little bit better. I don't know. Like, I like Under the Sea maybe a little bit better than Part of Your World. I like Be Our Guest better than Beauty and These. I don't know. I just like these sort of fun songs. I definitely like the more fun songs of Lion King better than Can You Feel the Love, and I like I like Friend Like Me better than Part of Your World. That's very controversial, but that's what I think. I think it's such a great song. It's so brilliant. It's so fast-paced. The animation is amazing. Yeah. It's just so joyful and so funny. I still think it holds up. I mean, it has a lot of stuff that I don't even really know what it is, but like, I don't care because it's just so energetic and so joyful.
Yeah.
Personally.
I love it too. It's kind of almost a three-way tie for me with Friend Like Me, A Whole New World, and Prince Ali.
Mm-hmm.
I think Prince Ali is so funny.
I do too. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love. I mean, evidently he just recorded this for hours and hours and hours, and he was, I think, pretty self-conscious about his singing, but he does a good job, and it's exactly what's required for the role. And yeah,
he aces it. Yeah,
it's just the best.
Yeah, agreed.
You ain't never had a friend and never had a friend. You ain't never a friend like me. It's and I like, in general, I think the backgrounds in Aladdin are a little bland. They're just plain colors for the most part. They'll just be solid blocks of blue and black and things like that. But I think in Friend Like Me, I think it really works because you're just focusing on the genie, and so much is happening with things moving up and down and the baklava going crazy, things like that I think it actually works really well for the visual style.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. It really looks great.
Yeah. So while that's all going on, then we have Jafar figuring out that he can marry Jasmine. And I do love that the Sultan's first response is, "But you're so old."
I know.
I forgot to say, I love when the Sultan, he's like, He's like, her mother wasn't nearly so picky.
Picky.
Which is really funny.
It is so funny. It's got so much humor in this movie.
Yeah.
From everybody. I think I love the Sultan too. I mean, he's kind of a bumbling character, but such a great character design, and you just see how he can just be so easily manipulated, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Really good. Very, very good. And so there's this sort of scheme. Do we really understand the parameters of Jafar's magic?
No. It's never explained.
No.
You know, again, some of it, I think you just infer it by seeing his secret lair that he's got in the palace, because he's got all sorts of stuff going on in there, right?
He's a sorcerer, I guess.
Yeah, or at least, yeah.
He's not like saying like Aruba, some like potion, and he's not doing like potions, or he's just he's got his stick and he can hypnotize people.
Yeah.
But he's not really a hypnotist. I don't know. He's just got kind of like
he's got skills, and he also knows what items he needs to get stuff done, like the mystic blue diamond that the Sultan wears on his pinky, you know, and his pinky ring.
Right.
He has to take that and use it, because that's how he finds out that Aladdin is the diamond in the rough, by.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
The mystic blue diamond. No, it's never explained, and I kind of like, but I like it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, he's either trying to be some kind of a wizard or sorcerer or something.
Yeah,
but
I don't even think in Return to Jafar that they ever explain. Because
is that ever explored?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I saw that. And I do have to say, I think of all the cheap quills, I think that the Aladdin ones are pretty okay.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I saw both of them once and then tried to block them out of my but.
They're certainly in the upper quarter of those. Not my favorite, but they're up there.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think we owe the cheap quills to Return of Jafar, because it was the first one.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And it was, I mean, Disney made just $1 bazillion off of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what that launched it.
The Aladdin ones and the Lion King ones are fine. They're not like great, but they're fine.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have a soft spot, particularly for the third one, because Robin Williams comes back.
Yeah.
So,
which is a big deal. I mean, for them to be able to get him to do that,
because they did have a falling out, Robin Williams and Disney, about this film and about how it was marketed. He didn't want them to use the genie in the marketing, and he was very upset with them because he was worried something to do with it affecting his other films that were coming out, and he felt like they hadn't honored their part of the deal. And anyway, that's where there was conflict between them, but they were able to kind of work it out, it seems like. So that's good. So, all right. So then we get to, they're in the cave and they're stuck there, and Aladdin, in his sly way, he tricks the genie into getting them out without actually making a wish. And and then we get his wish to become a prince. And it's one thing I wondered about is because when Jafar becomes Sultan, I know this is totally overthinking it, but it's just for fun on the podcast. But when Jafar becomes Sultan, he actually takes the clothes and everything from the Sultan, right?
Yes.
So here's my question. Is there some prince out there in the middle of nowhere that was all of a sudden like...
He lost all of his clothes and his menagerie.
There's no answer to that question. It was just something I was thinking about yesterday. I'm like...
That's a deep question, Rachel.
but anyway, so yeah, he becomes Prince Ali, and we get Prince Ali the song, and this song is so good. My favorite part is don't they look lovely,
dude? Yes, fabulous, Harry. I love the feathers.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's really
and
funny.
I love Abu as an elephant.
Yeah,
Because
true.
you clearly know, you see it's Abu, but it's just it's played for such comedy, and it's still just delightful.
Right. Yeah, it's so good, and there's so many good moments in it. But yeah, that's my favorite. Don't they look lovely, June?
Yeah, it's mine too. I love that.
Yeah, and then we're back to Jasmine. Of course, she sees all the hullabaloo with Prince Ali, and they're all talking, and she says, "How dare you stand around talking about my future? I am not a prize to be won." So that's a pretty good moment for her.
Oh, Jasmine's awesome. Yeah,
that's pretty good. And so then we get a lovely scene between the genie and Aladdin, and the genie says, "Look, this is stupid. You're being stupid. You need to just be yourself, and really, you have trust and being a theme, and being honest, being a theme throughout the film. We have Aladdin telling Jasmine, 'Do you trust me?' several times in the story, and here, and then and Genie saying, just be yourself, he's too scared that Jasmine won't accept him. And we also, I think it's here that that we find out that that Aladdin can save the genie, or it might have been just a little earlier, I forget. But anyway, we find out that that he can make a wish and genie will be free. And I think that this gives such heart to the movie, because you just, Robin Williams, you just feel that heart when he's talking about wanting to be free. And then later on, when Aladdin refuses to grant him his freedom, like, there's such heart, like, through the whole thing. It's so good. And it's, I don't know, I think that was such a brilliant addition to make. I've never seen that in an Aladdin story before, about the idea that Aladdin can grant the genie his freedom.
Agreed. And it's so brilliant that those, the bracelets that the genie wears are symbolic of, like, a chain, in a way, or something that keeps him bound to the lamp and bound to whoever is his master. I agree with you. I thought that was such a brilliant creative choice in the script, and it really differentiates the story. Yeah, doesn't it? It just is, as you said so well.
Yeah. And so then we get the magic carpet ride with A Whole New World.
What a scene. What a lovely scene.
Yeah, it's really good. Did you watch that Saturday Night Live thing, though? Isn't that funny?
Yes. I had seen it before. I'm so glad you said it to me again. It's so funny. It's the one with Adam Driver. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that these romantic ballads are a little cheesy. They're fine. I mean, I watch Hallmark movies, so what can I complain about cheesy romance? But I just like the beat songs better. But anyway, this is really nice and sweet, and we get a great kiss. Probably, it might be, like, the kiss in Pocahontas is really good, but we don't have that much chemistry between the two.
Yeah.
Here we have chemistry.
There's chemistry, yeah.
And I can't think of a better kiss, because you think about something like Sleeping Beauty or Snow White, but both of them are, like, asleep during their big kiss, which is not as good. And I guess there's a pretty good kiss in Tangled. But I can't think of any other ones that would be better than this.
Well, it's a great kiss, and again, it's an earned kiss, because I think the scene is so great, and then they are in China, having that kind of conversation, where Jasmine figures out that this, I think this is Aladdin.
Yeah,
she calls him on it, but I think one of the things that really makes A Whole New World scene work too is that it's cheesy, but then they also add some really great humor in there. I always love it when they're flying through Egypt, and the guy, carving the Sphinx is so,
yeah, that's true. It's a good
freaked
point.
out by it that he like knocks the nose off the Sphinx. I mean,
yeah,
these fun little gags that they were able to sneak in that give it so much charm and I'm attributing most of these to Ron and John. I don't know if I'm sure any number of story people could have put it. But Ron and John approved them, and
they're really fun.
And they're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun. And that kiss scene too. That I love the the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
The Jasmine is on, and the carpet is involved, and then I don't know. The whole thing is so great.
Yeah. And then we get where Jafar tries to kill Aladdin, and Genie ends up saving him, and he says, "I'm getting kind of fond of you, kid. Not that I want to pick out curtains or anything." That's pretty good. That's a good line. So it goes kind of back and forth, and then Aladdin tells Genie that he can't wish for her freedom. And that's when Genie says, "You've lied to everyone else. I was beginning to feel left out."
Mm-hmm.
That was really good.
Devastating.
Yeah,
really devastating. Because poor Aladdin, here he's won the princess's heart, and the Sultan has said, "Well, you got to become Sultan now," and he's so freaked out because he's still, he's insecure, and he doesn't. And also, I mean, in a way, he's right. He doesn't have the skills to be the Sultan. Right. He doesn't know about any of this stuff, how any of this stuff works. But it's devastating. Wow, and again, Robin Williams' performance is so good in that scene. It rips your heart out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really, really good. And this is when Jafar gets the lamp, and he wishes to be Sultan, and he takes the Sultan's clothes, and he wishes to be a sorcerer, which he already was a sorcerer, but he wants to be the most all-powerful sorcerer.
Yeah.
And this is when we get the Prince Ali reprise. So, how many times do I have to kill you, boy?
Yeah.
And Aladdin is sent to the end of the earth, and it really does feel pretty desperate. I mean, Aladdin's just there with his vest on in the middle of the snow. In the middle of
wherever they are, the North Pole or whatever, wherever.
Yeah, but luckily he sent him with the carpet and with a boo. So, and so he gets back, and here's where we get sexy Jasmine. What do you think of that? Red outfit.
I was thinking that watching it, I think they probably couldn't do that today.
You think? But, yeah.
I don't think that would. I think people would really throw a fit. I don't even remember it being an issue back, in '92. And again, not that it's necessarily offensive. It's just so overtly sexy.
Right. That it'll be interesting to see what they do in the new one.
Yeah.
What they do.
What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I don't mind sexiness. I don't know. I don't think this movie is necessarily for like teeny tiny little kids, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
It's clearly it was they didn't just use it like gratuitously, and that it like played a role. She like had to distract Jafar, in order, and that then she ends up kissing him, and everybody is so disgusted, which is funny too.
Right. I don't think it's necessarily offensive for kids to see characters being sexy or being I don't know, an enchantress of some kind. I don't have a problem with that. It's fine with me. I guess it just has to be handled right. And there's a purpose for it. It's not gratuitous at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would have been something similar like when I used to watch Sleeping Beauty, which I loved growing up. And I would watch it, and when Maleficent would say, I would call upon all the powers of hell and something like he would say something like that, and I would be like, oh, whoa, like it was very like exciting and very fun. Like,
Yeah.
wow, she's so evil. So I think it's maybe kind of like that. And even like in some of the other early Disney or even in some of the other early Disney films, you have a little bit more sort of sexy characters. But it would be interesting to see, trying to think of any of the recent films you could say had kind of a character like that. Not in Frozen, not really in Tangled. They all stay pretty covered.
Yeah.
So interesting. I'm trying to think, even in Wreck-It Ralph, I don't think there's really anything even in there in any of the game.
No, there really isn't, because Sergeant Calhoun in Wreck-It Ralph, she's just kind of all business, right?
Yeah, right.
And
because back, I mean, the Tinkerbell could be a little bit sexy back in the day. Some of those characters,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyway, it's fun. I do love the joke when Genie's like, go out, or whatever he says. And then he's like, Jafar, he's our man. If you can't do it.
Great.
I love that.
I do
so
too.
Funny.
I love that. Yeah, when he's the cheerleader.
Yeah. So funny.
It's so funny.
And this is when Aladdin convinces Jafar to become a genie and ends up trapping him inside the lamp. So
also super smart.
Super smart, yeah.
Yeah, again, I thought that was such I've always said that was such a great way to defeat Jafar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very smart. Very smart. Yeah, so then we get our ending with Aladdin being honest and gives the genie his freedom, and that whole scene is the best.
It's just perfection.
Again, especially after the passing of Robin Williams, like it's especially moving.
It takes on this whole new meaning, and I thought the same thing. I can't remember how many days I watched, but I did watch Aladdin too, Rachel, not long after the passing of Robin Williams. And I was really emotional to watch that last scene, because I don't think any of us really knew that Robin Williams. I mean, he was quite manic in his personality, but I didn't realize he was suffering the way he was, and to be free, or to think about death as we do with our common faith, but just knowing that he's hopefully freed from some of that suffering that he had been going through.
Right.
It adds extra depth. And I was reminded of that again, rewatching it. I was like, oh wow, yeah. And it's so perfectly done. Perfect music by Alan Menken, perfect animation for the scene. I
love the way that he starts like packing up, and then he's like, and then Aladdin's like, Genie, I'm gonna miss you. And then he stops. Oh, so good. And they have the group hug, and it's just great.
Group hug, yeah. He's got the goofy hat.
Right. Yeah. And there you go. That's Aladdin. It's definitely very special and wonderful. And I'm thinking maybe I did rate it too low in my ranking. It's so hard because I just love so many of them. So it's like, I still gave it an A, but I gave my top 35 films A's.
Yeah. I mean,
so
many good ones. And some of these really do. They just come down to personal taste.
Yeah, because it's so great.
It's just, yeah.
So, yeah, I have Aladdin at 21, which seems ridiculous. But I have Pinocchio at 20. And I have Lilo and Stitch at 22. Both films I love. So, I don't know. It's tough. It's just tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Aladdin's in my top 10.
Yeah, I completely understand that. So great. This was so fun. This makes me want to even go watch it again.
I know. Exactly. It was so great to rewatch it, and really great to talk with you about it. I always, learn something and appreciate your insights. So thank you.
Well, let's see what we're going to talk about in September.
All right.
27. So let's see what 27 is.
Oh.
That's if I'm. Yeah, 27 is Oliver and Company. So,
all right. Okay.
Yeah, because we've already done Great Mouse Detective. So.
Yeah, I was going to say we've done that. So.
So Oliver Company will be our movie for September. So that should be really fun.
Yeah.
It should be fun. It's to revisit. So, all right, great. Well, thanks so much. You're the best. This was so much fun. This is
Thank you.
My favorite of all the ones we've done to talk about. So, and I just can't wait until the day we can talk about Little Mermaid. That will be so fun.
Yeah.
But how can people find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Stanford Clark, and I have a movie blog, which is moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. So make sure you're following me there, and let us know. Oh, I almost forgot to read people's quotes real quick.
I'd love to hear what
okay, yeah. So I asked my followers on Twitter what they thought about Aladdin, and they had a lot of different things. My friend the Lawn Gnome, he said it's a great film, but a portion of it really doesn't hold up. And I said the romance, and he said shockingly the jokes, and for me the songs. Whoa, that was shocking for me. So there you go, different opinions. Harry Thomas says it's one of the great Disney movies ever. Then we have CC Takato says Aladdin also has some of the best video games based on a Disney movie. So interesting. Georgia Speech, she says, I don't know if this is relevant in any way, but since you asked, I have to say that I love, love, love Aladdin. Jasmine is perfect. She's strong and capable, but she accepts help when she needs it, and that doesn't make her less of a boss. Plus, Raja is the cutest. So there you go. She says, the music is some of the best. Basically, my favorite, along with Little Mermaid. A Whole New World is everything. But Prince Ali gets my heart soaring with joy and anticipation every time. Animated Antic says Aladdin is definitely a shining spot in the Disney Renaissance. It boasts some great animation, memorable songs from Alan Menken, also Robin Williams as Genie. So hilarious that it's no wonder that Chuck Jones called this film the funniest animated movie ever made. So there you go.
Wow, that's quite a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fadi Antoine says, we think it's a masterpiece, one of the best animated movies of all time, without a doubt. Just a couple more. Kyle says, despite a lot of dated elements and some pacing issues, it's really a riot and one of the better Disney films. And then Richard Southworth says, maybe it's nostalgia, but Aladdin is still one of my favorite Disney films. The story, the characters, style, voice acting, and especially the songs are all fantastic. I had so many, so I apologize. I can't read them all. But yeah, there's just tons of immediate love for Aladdin amongst my Twitter followers as soon as I put it out.
Oh, that's great.
Really great. Yeah. So lots of good things. So let us know your thoughts on Aladdin. Put in the comment section or on Twitter. What do you think of it? And we'd love to talk. And like I said, you can follow this podcast at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. And we'd love to hear more from you. And we'll be excited to talk about Oliver & Company next month.
Thanks, Rachel.
Bye.